Well, guys, this is what happens when you
Good
have.
Amazing Grace Network.
There we go.
We are here. We're here, ready to give you what we've been giving you all along, and I'm not humming. So,
well, we didn't have any music to give you, so we gave you some humming.
by now you should know the rap theme song.
I'm not a rapper. That's before my time. I mean, that's after my time. I can't do it. Maybe one of you guys got that.
Yeah, wait.
I'll drop a prayer. I'll drop a prayer on you. How about that?
Yeah. There we go. Forget about the rapping. Let's just get to the prayers.
Lord, we thank you for another time, Father. We thank you for allowing us and many others to be on that wake-up list this morning, Father, for your continued love and guidance, Father, that you continue to help us as we break the glass ceilings of this sports network situation, Father. We thank you for Amazing Grace Sports Network. We thank you for WEZE 590 AM, 9 a.m. till 10 a.m. on Saturday mornings, Father, as you continue to bless and keep us healthy and strong so that we can talk to the people. In your holy name, amen.
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 There we go. All right, let's just hit this darn Patriots Dynasty nice and hard, the way we wanted to hit it last Saturday, but we got kind of sidetracked in between. Start right off. I think it was episode 3. What is it with episode 3? Isn't that where Tom goes down?
Tom goes down to 2008.
2008.
Matt Castle comes in. And you know what I'm going to give some credit to? I'm going to give some credit to Bill Parcells for coaching Matt Castle into a confident quarterback.
Wait, what are you talking about, Bill Parcells?
Listen, look.
You talking about Bill Parcells or Bill Belichick?
No, not Bill. Bill Belichick. You know what I'm talking about.
I'm just trying to make sure.
That's the problem with today in the world. Too many bills, man.
Too many bills.
Too many bills. Yeah,
Belichick. My bad. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Belichick. He coached him from being a nervous quarterback to a confident quarterback, which you couldn't do for our boy. What's his name? Matt. The one that he just left hanging and kind of messed them all up this season.
Mac Jones?
Mac Jones. He couldn't do it for Mac Jones, but he did it for Matt Castle. Because he was a nervous wreck going on that field for the first time after Brady going down. He knew it was the time that he can make it or break it. But his confidence was kind of shook. But after Bill brought him to the sidelines, said, "Hey, kid, calm down. Calm down. It's going to be okay." He calmed his nerves, and he played.
I think we're forgetting that they also had Wes Welker and Randy Moss and some other people there.
He did have targets.
Yes, he just had to get the ball out of his hands, and he ran half the time.
But can you deliver a ball if you're not calm and subtle?
I think I could throw it over to Randy Moss.
Come on.
I think, yeah. Give me a chance.
Hey, then you're throwing like the old man from Miami because he can't throw down the field, remember?
Two attacks. You know what? I think he had a stacked team. He also, if I look back on that team, let me see what I got here. 2009, when 2009. Randy Moss, Wes Welker, Ben Watson at his prime.
Yeah.
They had a crew.
Yeah.
Kevin Falk.
He did. Guys, I think we already did season 3 though. We already talked about Matt Castle. I think
that's actually, as I looked at it, that's actually what we're talking about is episode 5. We're talking about episode 5.
4 into 5.
Yeah. So
4 is Spygate. 3 is Borrowed Time, 4 is Spygate, and episode 5 is Tom going down. That's Matt Castle. We might as well stick on Matt Castle because there's plenty of meat on that bone. Okay.
You know what? I don't think so. I think it is what it is. I mean, he came in to a fairly good situation, although he wasn't expecting to go in. So, that's the difference between when you wasn't able to do it with Mac Jones. Mac Jones had been prepped throughout the training camp. He just didn't have the same. Mac Jones didn't have the same situation. So,
No.
What's his name? Castle. It was structured. You know what I mean? He had the playbook, and so all he had to do was actually get the experience of getting out there. And it was some jitters initially.
But he had a great team. He had a great team.
He had a lot of support. I'm not saying that he's not. He's not.
I am. But I'm definitely saying he's not decent. No, he's not decent at all. He's barely adequate. Okay, but they had a great team. And as I look at it, Wes Welker, Ben Watson. Ben Watson in his prime was an unbelievable tight end. Kevin Falk coming out the backfield. Probably had Ben Jarvis, Green, Elliott, whatever that the other guy's name was, coming out, running the ball. So he had, and I'm looking at his front line. Okay, I hate to tell you, this is one of the best front lines there ever was on that team. Dan Carden, Steve Neal, Nick Kazar, Matt Light, and Logan Mankins. He had a heck of an offensive line at that time too. So, Matt Castle was just at the right place at the right time. He looked good, but I think when we talked about this, I think that's where everyone got the idea that Bill could take anybody and make him into a real Tom Brady. That Tom Brady was just a system quarterback that he made.
Yeah, okay. So, I don't know how much meat's left on the bone because we know how this thing played out. He played the best he can play. He started building his confidence. But at the same time, what he didn't anticipate was the GOAT was preparing to come back and take his job because everybody's thinking, wow, this is how Tom lost his. And, Tom wasn't a locker room headache. He didn't do anything. But, I don't think he really anticipated Tom coming back the way Tom came back.
Well, he didn't have much of a choice because he didn't even stay around for the next season. They traded him before the season came up. They traded him in February.
Right, but they actually did look at Tom to make sure he can do it before they.
I don't know. Well, Tom didn't play in the game, didn't play preseason, didn't play anything. The Stein for those of us, and I include me in that, who know football, it was easy to see that Matt Castle didn't have what it took.
Well, I can't say he didn't have the Brady edge, but horrible.
Then you're saying no quarterback got it. So there are scenarios where you have an extremely confident, cocky, great quarterback, and then there's some cases where you have a decent quarterback with great receivers, and all they got to do is get the ball in the area, and it's all good. But again, it takes a team to win. And all of that is just parts of the team to make you win. So wherever your weak links are, you gotta kind of fill in to make it strong. And you're not going to get 100% from a quarterback, 100% from your line, 100% from this, that, and the other. So you got to make up on another side. So again, Castle was he was great at what he did at the moment that they needed him. Period.
Listen. That jersey behind your head right there is pretty much the reason we're talking about the dynasty, because you're talking about the quarterbacks. You're talking about the quarterbacks who had opportunities. Like when you had Matt Castle, he had an opportunity. Then Matt Castle goes down. Then you had a chance to get what's the guy's name? Jacoby Brissett.
Oh yeah.
But, okay, hold on, Matt Castle, 11-5 that year. Not a bad year.
Not a bad year at all.
Okay, so it was because they played as a team, correct?
In order to go 11-5, they had to win the last 4 games. That's how bad they were in the beginning with Castle. But Castle showed his true colors when he goes to Kansas City the next year.
Guys, he didn't have the weapons.
Well, that's my point. He didn't have a Welker or Randy Moss or Ben Watson, or Kevin Falk coming off the backfield. And I don't think I remember Matt Castle going down the field as much as he was hitting little 5 and 10-yard flares and screens in which the receiver could run 15, 20 yards with the ball or somebody.
Whole thing here, this dynasty, we know there's a compilation of 2 great people, Belichick and Brady. When you go from one team when you go from the Patriots to another team, you see the difference. You see how they practice, how they prep, the game planning. So when you go from New England to Kansas City, you're not going into the same situation. So you're already going in with maybe average talent, meaning Matt Castle. I mean, we know that he was probably at best a backup, but then when you go into another organization, I mean,
he looks like a backup.
Look like you did. So we already know what this is all about. We know that there's two great people. The only one is one eventually aged to the point where he don't realize the game has changed, and he looks like a coach that has Mac Jones, and the other one is still ready to play, and he's still performing. That's what they were great together. But
well, you add one more factor that you lose is the crowd that Boston carries. So the fans make a huge difference as well when you go to another city. So we got team, coaching, fans, changing to another state. It's a whole new scenario. So you're right. You're going to make a break right from the top.
Yeah,
I'm going to break away from you guys. I'm not giving Bill Belichick hardly any credit. I'm going to say this guy right behind me is the guy. That guy right there, the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, until Pat Mahomes put on the uniform, and Pat Mahomes and breaks the record, which he is on pace to do. The greatest I'd ever seen was Tom Brady, and I don't care what coach you put back there, Chuck Noll, Bruce Arians, Andy Reid. That guy is going to win you championships, and I can't say that for any quarterback that you give Bill Belichick.
Okay, let me finish what I was saying. As a friend of mine whose friend was Daniel, her cousin was Daniel Graham, and Daniel Graham got traded from the Patriots to the Broncos. He got up Broncos, and I remember him saying that when he got out there, it is not the same.
Nah, you're right about that. You guys are totally right about that. It's not the same once you leave New England. And I think this is the reason why, part of us have all this fervor and passion. It's the New England area. You don't get this when you go somewhere else. You get people with anger, not passion. They have anger because their team keeps losing, but they don't have passion.
Well, I wouldn't say that to a person who's like Pat. Like I met a couple of Cleveland fans who had absolutely no reason to be pissed off. They just should have been used to it. But I met a couple of they were just dog nasty when I said something about the Browns.
Wow.
Yeah, but so you just got to experience somebody else's passion for their organization. But none of it, like you got New England, you got Dallas, you got Pittsburgh. Those Oakland Raiders back in the day. Those
wow,
different. It's just a different culture altogether. But
one thing that Brady did do is show that he can rouse the fans like he did when he went to Tampa.
Oh yeah,
when he left New England, went to Tampa.
That's different.
It just shined differently once he went down there. So he brought
everything changed.
Not only did he bring talent down there, but he brought that whole hurrah that they hadn't been able to have until he got there.
Right. I mean,
and they're not going to get since he's gone.
Yeah, but that's
gone, baby, gone. So we did the Spygate. We did, nothing to say about Spygate other than. And my thing is Ernie Adams. That whole Ernie Adams guy. I think he's the guy behind that.
How about Eric? No, Eric Mangini was the one behind that because Eric knew what was going on. As soon as he realized that they were playing us, he said, "I'm putting that out there, and we're gonna put a damper on this because Bill's gonna. I mean, the Patriots gonna come down there and beat us down." He's the one that put that out there.
Well, yeah, I mean, Mangini did, but I'm saying this guy Ernie Adams is behind Bill Belichick's shenanigans, because I don't think on his own Bill Belichick had enough gumption to go out and try this stuff. I think Ernie Adams suggested it to him. He said, "Yeah, let's do it."
Well, I don't think it's about gumption. I mean, it's a head coach just makes decisions. He just makes decisions. So there were people doing things I think Bill Belichick probably would not do, but he had to do what they do, and we know that going into the next episode that we haven't gotten to yet, when he made a decision about Aaron Hernandez. He knew things, but he let people make decisions that was as far as he was not on the desk.
Listen, I'm gonna have to disagree on you with that, because decisions he could have made about Aaron that might have changed the look and location of incidents that happened, he didn't make. The activities that Aaron was doing on the field and acting the way he was, and all the players knew it.
All the players knew it.
And they were told not to hang out with this dude when they go out. When he goes out nightlife, they couldn't go nowhere near him.
But you're missing my point. What I'm saying is that Bill Belichick is letting people make that decision, because he could easily have said, no, don't record. But he was like, you know what? You do what you do, and that's on your desk, but not thinking that it was going to rise up to him.
I disagree. I think Bill Belichick was right in on it. I think that's how Aaron Mangini knew. Aaron Mangini knew that this had been going down the block for the last 3 to 4 years. This was nothing new. That's why Eric Mangini was able to trade him and was able to turn him in. He knew this was going on. Bill Belichick wasn't a passive observer. He was right in on it.
He told the league to watch him before the game even started, because he knew that's what they do.
That was Eric Mangini.
Yeah, Eric Mangini.
You said Aaron Mangini. Okay, I was confused. Okay, all right. No, what I'm saying to you is that he knows there was nothing that was on in that organization that Bill Belichick did not know about. He knew about it, but he's just letting somebody else make the decision. So, like when you're saying Aaron, so I'm confused. So back up. Let me know who you said this guy Aaron. Who was his name?
You talking about Aaron Hernandez?
Ernie
Adams. Ernie Adams is his guy. Ernie Adams was with them in Cleveland. Ernie Adams came over to the New England Patriots. He's the guy that everyone thinks is such a guru because he measures the guy's weight as opposed to how fast he runs and how much stamina he has at the end of the 40-yard run due to this oxygen expansion. He does all these crazy things, but he's also the guy who's always thinking of a way to beat the system. And Bill Belichick and him are like that on it. Ernie Adams, I bet, I don't want to get sued or anything, but I would say this. I would say Ernie Adams is the guy who's masterminding most of these crazy things that Bill Belichick is doing, including not paying the players very well, okay, as well as the Spygate thing.
But
Bill Belichick took the sword for it because he went with it. But I don't think he was the originator of the idea.
But you're agreeing with me. Bill Belichick knew about it, and he let somebody else make a decision and roll with it.
No, he made the decision. Ernie Adams came to him and said, why don't we do this? And he said, yes, let's do it.
Okay. All right. I thought you were saying something different. Okay.
Listen, he knew more about that than anybody else did. I think it wasn't only them that did it. Everybody did that.
Everybody was doing it.
Everybody did. But it was just a factor that Mangini knew he was going to get beat, so he had to cause some kind of habits. Well, y'all need to watch them because this is what they do. I mean, he put them out there right down Front Street from the beginning.
You know what? I think you're right. Now that I think about it, I think you're right. I think it was kind of like an unwritten rule that everyone is doing this.
Well, it is a rule. No, it is a rule because they read the rule.
It's a rule but it's an unwritten rule that everyone's doing it without reporting the other person.
Right.
Fine, but what we're saying, it was widely known across the league. The problem is when you got a team dominating like this, like the Patriots, it became trendy to try to find the thing that they're doing. So all of a sudden they became known as quote unquote the cheaters. But they were doing everything. I wouldn't say they were doing the same thing other teams were doing. That's why I started talking about them turning the music up and all this other crazy stuff. You remember the time when Tomlin said that my mics went out and they happen to always go out when I go to New England? So we're not.
Yeah. I think other teams were doing it. Other teams were doing it.
So
you know what, guys? Since we're
it's only brought to light because of the New England Patriots.
Right.
Because Eric Mangini started. So
right.
At that point, it became trendy to find if the grass wasn't cut the right way, it became trendy to say the Patriots, they don't cut the grass higher because they know we're an indoor team. And it was always something that they were talking about. Once Eric Mangini started it, it became trendy to start saying they're cheaters. When in actuality,
you know what? It's all Mangini's fault.
Well, every single team, finds a competitive edge, and you're right. It is Mangini's fault because that historically hadn't been the case when one team snitched on another.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's all Mangini. He broke the unwritten rule of snitching because all teams knew that they did it. They said, look at that guy up there. It ain't gonna get nothing because you can just take it. You can, if you can take a picture from up there, you can take this. If they told him you couldn't do it on the field, but you can do it from up there. So they're all taking pictures.
Yeah,
they're all taking pictures.
Everybody started drinking the Kool-Aid. I remember Marshall Faulk one time. I just thought, I know they were cheating because they knew our plays. Before we even got the ball, the guy was in my face. But then Mike Martz never said anything about that. He said they were just better prepared. They outcoached us. So
Marshall Faulk is a big whiner. Always has been. Always been a whiner. Still whines. He still whines to this day. Guy got paid millions of dollars. He's still whining about something. Whatever. You know what, guys? Let's just go to the Hernandez thing because we're trying to tiptoe around this, and it just leads right up to it anyway. So they lose and now they're doing pretty bad. I think they went with Castle. The record was 11-5, and then the next record was 13-3, and they lose to I think they lose to the New York Jets coming out in the divisional playoff. Then we have 2011. Oh yeah, 13-3, 2011, first place, bada boom. And that's the year before they had drafted Hernandez and Gronkowski. And they said they were looking for toughness.
Yeah.
And we might as well just get right to it, okay? Looking for toughness. Now, we have some personal knowledge here that we have personal knowledge as well as professional knowledge because of the job that we did for 30-something years as police officers. And some of these things that we know about with Aaron Hernandez. I don't know about toughness. I think he was a bully. But as I said, I was talking to Eric before you came on. I seen him on the field, and when brothers started chirping at him, like they were from the same type of situation that he was from, gang situations, Aaron Hernandez always backed down. Always backed down. Always got short arms, alligator arms going across the middle after he got whacked. The better of the two was Gronkowski, and I couldn't figure out why they gave Aaron Hernandez $40 million. $40 million from Gronkowski was obviously the better tight end. And then all of these other things would come out that, there was a shooting in college where he shot someone in the eye on Tremont Street.
Yeah.
On Broadway Street in Southie.
Yeah, I don't know where you're going. It seems you're kind of touching on a lot of different things. But if you ask me, at the time when those two came out, the one who was advanced at the time when he was there, Aaron Hernandez was the guy I thought was better than Gronkowski at that point. I just thought he was a bigger playmaker. I thought he was a faster and a more dynamic tight end. Gronkowski ultimately became who he became. But at that time, I was leaning towards Hernandez on the field.
Hernandez was quicker than Gronk. Gronk was a stronger one, but I think they both added the same flavor to the team.
Absolutely.
However, the attitude that Hernandez ended up having, it showed both on and off the field. And
right.
they have one point on that recording where he showed up to practice with flip-flops on, playing with the ball, talking about he was the better receiver.
Right.
So there were and Bill laughed at it. So right, Tom was pissed off, but Bill laughed at it. So there were things that was happening with this guy that wasn't dealt with. I don't even know if it could have been dealt with other than getting rid of him, but that wasn't an option that they chose to even look at, because when he did ask to be traded, they said no.
And that's the crazy part, because I was thinking, dang, how come they wouldn't trade him? Because leading up to the point where they said that he asked for a trade, there was enough signs there to say, okay,
yes,
we need to, part ways.
But we need to part ways with this guy. And if he wants to get traded, we should try to find a way out for him right now.
They was looking at that $40 million, though.
No, even before he decided to keep him, because even before then, they had reported all of his antics.
That's right.
But he wasn't showing them with the Patriots until closer to him getting signed.
Yeah, but the players knew it before he got signed.
And they were telling, and they told Bill, now I'm going to give you guys these statistics on 2011 when they went to the Super Bowl. Rob Gronkowski had 90 catches for 1,300 yards, 17 touchdowns. Aaron Hernandez had 79 catches for 910 yards, 7 touchdowns. So as far as the bigger playmaker, I didn't see that from Aaron Hernandez. I thought he was faster, but I didn't see him have that same toughness that I saw Gronkowski have when he caught the ball.
No, Gronkowski was definitely physically more dominating. Absolutely, no question about that. But yeah,
17 touchdowns to 7.
Yeah, we definitely knew who the problem in that locker room was. You know what I found interesting? Deion Branch, honestly and genuinely seemed disturbed, even talking about it years later.
Yeah.
He seemed bothered, disturbed, and troubled, and he it's almost like he wished he could have done more to save him.
Well, you know from experience that if you're close to a person and you have these conversations, you would hope that something that you said stuck. You would hope that you said something that they may stick to. And when it doesn't happen, you kind of feel somewhat responsible, like, dag, man, maybe I could have said more, or maybe I could have done more, which he couldn't because he came as a troubled person. And that go way back to his childhood being a troubled person. Once his father died at 16, that was the end of that. He started falling off the handle then, but he's always on the run too, where he's trying to get out of it and be away, but he keep on falling back into it. So the question I had was, if they just sent him to the West Coast, that might have changed some of the faces and the names, but something would have happened because he just could not control himself.
He was going to find garbage no matter where he went. He was a dumpster diver. He was going to find some garbage to get into no matter where he went. Yeah, and that's not saying anything. I'm not trying to say anything negative. I'm saying this from people that we know. I don't care where you send them. Unless you change yourself, you find the same people that you left. You're just going to find them people. You might have left here, but you're going to find them in Dallas too.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. I agree with you. I agree with you both on that. It's just a shame that he wasn't able to get the heck out of New England, because as far as I'm concerned, that goes back to what I said a couple of episodes ago or a couple of recordings ago. The Patriots, we have this whole, the Patriot way, and they want this guy or they want that kind of crap. But they got some shady history on some of the folks they brought in. And that's when I talked to you about that guy, Corbin Brown, that they brought in that had checkered history. And then, of course, nothing happened while he was with them, but he's the guy that disappeared, went down to Mexico. We were talking about it after being, I think it was in Chicago. He killed his mother. But he was Patriots back in 2010. But he came in with the same questions, like, what's wrong with this guy? So they will pick you up with a questionable back. There's this whole, you got to have this and you got to do that to be up there, and they don't want you to. That's BS. I'm going to tell you right now. They're about winning. And it's on the recording, on the show, on episode 7, when they're talking about he was hesitant letting Hernandez go because
Six.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So that proved to be the case when they went and got a troubled Corey Dillon. He just happened to just straighten up. They got a troubled Randy Moss. He happened to straighten up. Look at these people that they came in, these receivers they want to pay. There was something in their background that they didn't want to keep. They didn't keep Aqib Talib because they constantly go get guys who we know have some things, but we just want the talent. So how do we continuously overlook? Oh, the Patriots, they don't. Y'all know I'm diehard, but it is what it is.
I totally disagree. I totally disagree. I don't think you can say Randy Moss or pretending to moon the Green Bay fans, or Corey Dillon, having some incidents where he gets in trouble at some nightclubs, compares to anything like what we saw with Aaron. And I think every team wants toughness. I'm going to tell you what I think why Bill Belichick goes out and gets these players. He goes out and gets these troubled players.
Not going to stop you from stopping. I'm stopping you. I'm not trying to compare that. You can say what you want.
Wait. You've had your say. Now I get my say. But he brings in these troubled players because he can get them cheap. That's why he gets them.
But what I'm saying to you is that we all know what they were saying. That you have to have a particular behavior, character, knowledge. You have to get a smart player. There was all these things that they would always talk about with the New England Patriots. In order to play up there, you got to be this, that, or the other. But there's a long history of them taking players that don't fit that mold.
How many football players, are you going to fight that they're going to be intelligent?
Okay, so
what are we talking about? We talking about mental geniuses here?
Why say it?
Huh?
Why say it? They're talking about what all these.
They say they want intelligent players. I mean, they want intelligent football players to know football, but you know, you're not going to get anybody that's, for the most part, a choir boy playing football. It's not the way it goes.
Listen, it's all trial and error. Who can be perfect on a pick? I mean, the guy that shows up with no record can come here and get caught up, because you can't be with anybody 24 hours a day. You have to set rules, guidelines. Yeah, we probably have the toughest setup going for players where they're going to put them in the cheapest hotel and treat them like garbage till they make the team. And then when they make the team, they're going to play them until they get to the contract point. Then they're going to trade them.
Then they're going to trade them.
But, I mean, you're going to get some bad apples no matter what every once in a while. And, I mean, yeah, they knew a lot about Hernandez, and they still took a chance on him because they figured, you know, his talent will take them where they need to go, and we'll kind of deal with whatever else may come. Because Bob Kraft even loved that dude. Bob Kraft really loved that dude. He felt like it was pulled over his eyes, and it wasn't. Nobody was paying attention. He was looking at the fact that he's going to take us to the Super Bowl. You know?
And not only that, Hernandez, as we can see, and as we know, if we can call him a troubled individual or maybe a psychopath, had a very engaging personality from what we can tell.
Okay, does that overlook what everybody else was hearing? That the fact that he had allegedly shot somebody wasn't a secret. Him coming out of college.
Yeah, the guy later denied it. So, and then after Aaron was dead, he came back out and said it was true. So
he came. Yeah, he came and testified during the trial.
During the trial,
he came and testified.
But I'm saying
it's true that he got shot in the eye. So there's all kinds of things going around. But I've dealt with psychopaths, and they're very engaging. I mean, they're the best liars you ever want to meet. And when they're with you, you kind of weigh the evidence, and you don't know which way to go. But they can kind of sway this. They can kind of sway those scales.
I hear what you guys are saying. I'm going to be the lone wolf here and just say that this whole misnomer that the Patriots won't pick you if you're this, that, or the other, or if you have that, then they can't use you, or they won't draft. That's BS. They want talent.
No kidding. I mean, I don't think anybody said they're not going to pick you if you don't have talent.
Right, but what I'm saying to you is that during that dynasty we're talking about, well, you got to be this, you got to be that, or we don't.
I don't know who said that. Who said that?
It was always being said that the Patriots wanted the smart players, or the Patriots wanted the players that you can't bring trouble up here. You got to do it the Patriot way, or we don't do that here. It was, if you watch football, then that's what they were saying.
I've heard the media said that. I've heard the media say, "Oh, there's a Patriots way, and all they want is this and all." But we all knew that they were bringing in guys. It didn't matter. They were bringing in guys with an edge.
Yeah, right. It was obvious that they were. I mean, Akeem Talib didn't come up here, a preacher boy, but they wanted him.
Yeah.
You know, Brandon came out with name. They wanted him. You know, so all I was just saying is that there's been a whole lot of labels that the Patriots got during them 20 years that either they deserved it or didn't deserve it, whatever the case is. But I'm just the person that's just speaking out on the stuff that I saw over the years. I'm like, okay, time to go.
What happened?
Love
it. Chicken's
ready. You know what? Actually, he was cursing then, and that's our beeper. He got beeped out. You know, that's our producer at work, wherever he's at. All right, guys. I think we reached the halfway point, so it's time to move on to these next guys over here. The guys, to my left or to the right. Well, let's just go like this.
Over your shoulder.
Mr. Tatum there and Mr. Russell. It's time to move on to the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics. What the heck is going on here?
Well, look here.
Everyone's just clutching and grabbing, and the next thing you know, you're losing to the Cleveland Cavaliers by 1 point, 105 to 104 in Cleveland when you were up by 22 and you were on an 11-game winning streak.
Let's look at some stats. So Tatum, 38 minutes, 8 of 21 field goals, 5 of 9 3-pointers for 26 points. Porzingis, 32 minutes, 9 of 18 field goals, 3 of 6 3-pointers, 3 for 3 foul shots, 24 points. Drew Holiday, we'll just talk about the top one. Drew Holiday, 36 minutes, 5 of 9 for shooting field goals, 2 of 6 3-pointers, no foul shots. He didn't go to the line one time. He had 12 points. Derek White, 35 minutes, 1 for 5 shooting field goals, 0 for 3 3-pointers. He hit 1 of 1 on his foul shots, and he hit 3 points. That was the weak link. And then Jaylen Brown, 37 minutes, 8 for 20 shooting, 3 of 7 3-pointers, 2 for 2 on his foul shots, and he hit 21 points. So D. White had a bad night that night. and when Derek White
has blame it on Derek White.
I don't blame it on him.
Problem.
I'm not. No, it's not a problem.
Go ahead blame it on him. Just throw it out.
He had a bad.
Throw it out there. Go ahead and say it. Derek White, Eric James is saying you stunk. Now I'm not saying that. See, because I still got respect for you, Derek.
Hold on now. And then Cleveland.
What?
Their high scorer, D. Wade, came off the bench for 21 points, 8 for 11 shooting, 6 for 9 3-pointers, 1 of 2 foul shots, and he was a higher score of 23 points for them. So
what do we think the problem was?
Derek White had a bad game, and they didn't play enough defense.
Okay, so what was their highest lead? What was their biggest lead?
I think it was 22 points.
Right. That's not Derek White's fault. He didn't help.
What do you mean? Come with that. I want to hear this one.
Well, you got a 22-point lead, right?
Right.
I think they had that lead in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So Derek White not playing a great game is not fully responsible for blowing the 22-point lead in the fourth quarter.
I never said he was fully responsible. They lost by 1 point. If Derek had hit 6 points, they would have won. If he had 4 points, they would have won.
How many ifs?
There you go.
How many ifs can you use if you blow a 22-point lead?
You blow
obviously you can use 22 of them.
But you blew 22. You lost by 1. So
okay.
How hard is it to get that 1 point back?
We could use 23 what ifs.
We could easily say, what if Jaylen Brown would have shot 4 for 7 instead of 3 for 7? You know what I mean?
Jaylen Brown? You mean from the 3-point line? He was 8 for 20. Him and Tatum's 8 for 21. Jaylen Brown's 8 for 20. He
was 3 for 7 from the 3-point. 3 for 7 for the 3-point line.
So if he would have been 4 for 7, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
No, sir.
Well, if Derek White had to hit one 3-pointer, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
I
said it a few times. They can only beat themselves.
And they did. They absolutely beat themselves. Collectively, they beat themselves because there's no world why you can sit here and look like I said, they're going to have a bad game. We know that happens in the NBA, right?
Yeah.
Momentum kicks in and you just can't stop the floodgate. That's what happened. They just got beat by. Sometimes the rabbit gets where they say the duck gets you and you get and you get the duck. They got the duck that day. So they got ducked.
Now's the time to lose though, and it's okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, lose by 1 point too. It doesn't mess up anything in your point differential. They're still in 5th place as far as point differential in the NBA as far as all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please, beat the Patriots. I mean, beat the Celtics.
What happened?
The following line loses. They lost to Atlanta.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then Milwaukee turned around and lose. That was their chance to gain a game, and they turned around and lose the next night.
Milwaukee's out of sorts, man. They're out of sorts. I don't know what's going on with them. They can't play.
What's going on with them? They're terrible. Damian Lillard is old.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
I wouldn't write them off, but they definitely have a long ways to go to be taken seriously.
They're old, and Giannis still hasn't developed any shot except a dunk.
He's a point guard.
You think he's a point guard? You think he's a point guard?
He brings the ball up every time. He's always bringing the ball up.
The point guard should be passing that ball.
No,
that ain't something he does.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're still a team you can't blink on, but they got to. If they figure it out, I wouldn't just count that as a win. But they got a long ways to go for you to respect it.
Their coach is even calling them out.
Doc Rivers? Doc is calling them out?
Yeah, like I don't know what these guys are doing sometimes.
Yeah.
Listen, Giannis don't want to play no defense. Chris
No one
Middleton.
want to play defense.
They got to get some young guys to play defense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, they got Portis. Was it Portis? They got Middleton.
You call what Portis does defense?
But yeah,
The man is crazy. You see his bug eyes
What?
all the time.
He's got some energy that I don't know. I just wouldn't overlook them right now. But they just got to.
Listen, that guy shouldn't even be in the league. He punched some guy in practice and they overlooked it. Broke the guy's face. I think they're still paying him out of Chicago for that guy. And the only thing he could issue was an apology. He should have been thrown out the league. The guy's got problems. Got problems. The dude was busting him up, talking about you can't guard me. And Portis' reaction was to punch him in the face.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to make your point.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Here we go. No, that's the Ron Artest stuff. No, just get this guy out of the league.
Are we talking about Clay?
I'm
just checking. I'm just checking, man.
Eric, sometimes you got to put the weights back when you finish.
I'm just checking, man. I'm just checking. God is good.
I mean, no, because my eyes ain't like this when I get upset. That's Bobby Portis. There's no comparison between somebody who is standing up for something that shouldn't be done wrong and just a person who just goes crazy, like Artest or Portis.
He didn't feel like he should have been criticizing his defensive skills.
No, that's not the case.
Okay.
Your teammate. Wait a minute, this guy was his teammate.
He's the closest person to you.
You know, he was his teammate that he hit. Not the guy on the opposing team.
You know how many fights go on in locker rooms and on the field in pro sports that we don't hear anything about?
We heard about this one. I don't know about that, but we heard about this one. This one was big enough that everyone could hear about it. I have a feeling that, listen, I know we all like Chris Middleton. I mean, Chris Middleton was one of my favorite guys back before he hurt his knee 3 or 4 years ago, but he hasn't been the same.
I was going to say, but I think he's definitely lost something because of that injury. Because he's not, first of all, he's not durable anymore. He can't stay on the court.
Right.
So I think that's one of their challenges, is trying to figure out if he comes back, what are they going to get out of him?
It depends on them, because they waited all season for him to come back. And now that you come back, like look at Paul George. I would never think he plays as hard as he plays after the injury he got. You know what I'm saying? So Middleton has no excuse, man. Either you're going to come back and you're going to go hard, or you ain't going to come back.
Yeah. But that's another one out there, too, that we got to keep an eye on, because they're looking like they're a team that, could do some work out west. So it's interesting. But those Boston Celtics, man, you know what? I don't know whether or not they get bored sometimes.
Yep.
I just don't know what it is, but they can't have those brain farts, man, in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Maybe we should get Bobby Portis here. I mean, get Bobby Portis in practice to push those boys.
And break Tatum's jaw, and then all of a sudden we're going to be having a different conversation.
Everybody's suspended.
We need somebody to push some buttons around here, because they're a very likable team, and sometimes they just don't have that thing in them. They don't have that dog in them.
It's a long season.
That too.
I mean, and it's time to hit go now, because we're after the All-Star game. All the hoopla is over. Now we're going towards that finish line. Now is the time to step on everybody's throat and keep it moving. However, if there is ever a time to lose, it's time now.
Yeah.
Lose what you're going to lose now. When we get to them playoffs, you got to continue on through. You got to play every game, every quarter.
Right. They're going to lose a game here and there. I just don't want to see them blow a 22-point lead in the fourth quarter, because that just shows disinterest. That shows a vulnerability that shouldn't be there. Yeah. So, and it bothers me.
Yeah.
Well, don't feel too bad. Let me read off some of these
just
things.
just to let you know, everybody on the team scored that day.
Just not enough.
It just wasn't enough.
Just
Okay. The Boston Celtics are 48-13 and have the NBA's highest record by 5.5 games over the second place Thunder. Over the I think it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. They have the best net rating by 3.7 points per 100 possessions. The Celtics rank first in offensive rating and second on defense. And supposedly they have the NBA's easiest remaining schedule. So
they got to play the Suns twice.
Yeah, those should be easy wins.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I'm not going to say they're easy, but I mean, we'll see how they measure up against a team that's supposed to do some damage out west.
Really? I will bet you. You know that thing that Eric always orders when we go to Legal Seafood, those big shrimp. The raw thing. I will bet you one of those. I'll make this hard for me to win the bet that the Celtics will win both of those games with the Suns.
You know what's crazy? So if they do win both, I got to pay you.
Right.
Right. So you know what's crazy is that I wouldn't take that bet. I wouldn't take that bet because they should win both games.
Yeah. Yeah, they might get up to play them.
Yeah, but if they don't win, I mean, who's going to be surprised if they lose one?
I don't think. I think when you put Devin Booker and Kevin Durant out there, they feel a little bit different than who's that guy who scored 27 points on them the other night? And Dean Wade. I think the Celtics take the game a little bit more serious.
Let's see. Their upcoming games is Denver, Phoenix.
Tonight.
Yep, tonight is Denver, Portland, Utah. And that's it.
Oh, they got a lot of games coming. I think they got about 18 games left.
Yeah, that's just the next 5 or so.
Yeah. So Denver and Phoenix. I think they play Phoenix. I don't know why they play them twice, but yeah, I mean Phoenix is definitely their next toughest one. Denver and Phoenix, and after that, they pretty much, they got a cakewalk because even teams they're playing in the West, I mean in the East, is still injured. The Knicks is still injured. We don't know whether or not Brunson's coming back.
Yeah, Brunson ain't coming back.
Oh, Brunson's out?
Yeah.
What happened to him?
He got shoot. What is his? I don't know what his injury is, but he's out.
Yeah, left knee. He's got some left knee damage. He came down wrong on it, twisted it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. We don't know if Brunson's coming back. We don't know what Embiid's going to look like if he makes it back.
I know what his knee's going to look like. His knee's going to look the same.
You said Embiid.
Oh, Embiid.
Yeah.
Embiid. You know what? They just don't know what they're doing in Philadelphia. Do you guys know this? That they could have had Embiid, Tatum, and Brown instead of Simmons and Markelle Fultz.
The Sixers.
The Sixers could have had Embiid, Tatum, and Brown. They had Embiid. They went with Ben Simmons over Jalen, who was the second pick, who was the third pick that year. Danny Ainge picked him, and then the next year they took Markelle Fultz instead of Jason Tatum. That's Philadelphia. That's why they deserve to lose.
Right, Philadelphia. Their organization is just a mess all around. I don't feel like they're a threat to anybody. I just don't feel like that. I don't care who's back there coaching. I just don't believe Philadelphia is doing. They're a mess.
Yeah.
Yes. Dude, they had 5 number 1 picks for a minute.
Yeah, and they took Simmons and Markelle Fultz. Of course, they took Joel Embiid, but instead of taking Tatum and Brown, they took Markelle Fultz and Ben Simmons.
Yeah, well, I got to go back a year before they picked Embiid. They did another guy who didn't last like a year.
That's right.
Yeah. So they've had
Rose
guy's name.
Derrick Rose.
No, that's Chicago.
No, he's not Derrick Rose. Yeah. Now he's another one. Let's real quick. He was on the path of being the first ballot Hall of Famer. We don't even know if he's going to make the Hall of Fame now.
Nah, he's not going to make it.
Yeah, Derrick Rose. Yeah, but yeah, I forget the guy's name. I'll figure it out off camera. But
Derrick Rose is still in the league, though.
Yeah, he's still playing, right?
Yeah, he's still in the league.
He's out. Lowry, him and Lowry still hanging around.
Oh well, Lowry had a better.
Where's Lowry at now?
Lowry's over in Philadelphia, showing out.
Philadelphia,
yeah, because he was in Miami. Then he came up to Philly. Yeah, but he's had a pretty decent career.
He's had a decent career. I think he's had a better career than Derrick Rose.
Oh yeah. Well, Derrick spent all this time injured anyway.
Right. Yeah. That guy DeMar DeRozan and Lowry was back there for Toronto, man. They had a hell of a backcourt.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. And then they added Kawhi Leonard that year, and they went and won the finals.
Yeah,
Toronto, because they already had those guys, and yeah, Lowry can't stand him.
Yeah,
wish he was on my team.
He plays though.
I know. I wish he was on my team. I can't stand him. He's one of those guys you can't stand him when he's on somebody else's team because he is such an annoyance.
And
he doesn't go away.
No, he'll be there at the end. And unlike Marcus Smart, he'll hit that three at the end.
Yeah. What's his? I haven't been really paying much attention to Memphis. What's he doing down there?
Oh, Derrick Rose?
No, Marcus Smart.
He was out injured for a while.
Okay, that's why I haven't heard much about him. Okay, so this isn't about the Memphis Grizzlies. We're talking about the Celtics. I had a bet with a guy, friend of mine. He's telling me the Lakers are going to go at least as far as the Western Conference Channels and Conference Championship and probably represent the West, but he didn't have much conversation about the Celtics. And I told him he was crazy.
Well, he's obviously a Laker fan. There's plenty of fake people out there, and fake people like the fakers.
Guess what
Where did that hand come from? Did I see a hand just come out of somewhere?
Nah, you didn't. I was scratching my head.
Yeah.
I reached around the back of the phone. And came down.
Yeah. And I think there was some fingernail polish on it.
He was hanging. He was hanging out with some selective people.
Listen, we ain't gonna go there. You know, today's society, you don't know where this might go, and I ain't throwing it out there like that.
I live in Atlanta, but I'm not gonna let y'all do that to me.
You know what they say about Atlanta. Anyway,
guys,
Derrick Rose is in Memphis, guys. He's with Marcus Smart.
Really? Okay. I didn't realize. I thought he was still with New York.
No, he's with Memphis.
Wow.
Okay.
I might have to check them out, see what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, this was an interesting platform today because we kind of just freestyled, man. We talked all over about the dynasty. We talked all over about, whether or not we thought it was Belichick. And I know Clay's got absolutely no respect for Belichick.
None.
But it takes two, man. It does take two. Do you really believe that Mahomes is going to get to set 6 if Andy Reid doesn't continue coaching?
No, I don't. I think Andy Reid's a superior coach to Bill Belichick.
But do you think that Patrick Mahomes can eclipse Brady?
I think as long as Andy Reid's back there, he has a yes, definitely, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So all I'm saying is it takes two, because we know Bill.
No. Tom Brady carried Bill Belichick. I mean, he won in spite of Bill Belichick. He won in spite of him. You could have put anyone back there with half a brain, and he probably could have won with him.
Listen. Belichick changed over the years, and he didn't change for the better. And the more years came, the grouchier and the messier he got. So in the beginning years, yes, they were a team, and they made things happen. But as time went on, they separated because it became on who was the better person or who was doing more. And it became conflict at some point where he actually got traded, Or did he get traded or he just leave? Which one was it?
Belichick pushed him out the door for Cam Newton. Nobody wants to hold Belichick accountable for that. You push Tom Brady out the door for Cam Newton, and you guys keep talking about he's a great whatever you think he is, a great thing, whatever. head coach or whatever. I
You
can't
say
give him that.
Braden said they were a team. They were a team at one point.
They
grew apart.
They were a tandem. That's how you got 20 years. I guarantee you won't see that again. They caught lightning in the bottle with Belichick and Brady. And
No, they caught lightning in the bottle with Tom Brady. They didn't catch lightning in the bottle with Bill Belichick. Without Brady, Bill Belichick was a 400 coach, guys. He's a 400 coach. 432. That's below 500. He lost a lot. He lost a lot more games than he won without Tom Brady, and that's with Drew Bledsoe, Vinny Testaverde, Bernie Kosar, and of course Cam Newton.
Yeah, but you don't believe a guy can learn from his mistakes and then become great?
No, I think he happened to come across Tom Brady, and this was the funny thing because this had happened before in Michigan, where the guy in Michigan, Tom Brady broke all kinds of records in his junior year, and they went to some bowl. But they had got this guy, this stud. I think his name was Drew Henson, and so they were sitting Tom Brady down. But Drew Henson would get in there and screw up, and then Lord Carr would look around and put Tom Brady in the second half to win the game. Tom Brady already had that winner DNA. He already had it. It wasn't anything Bill Belichick did other than be there and be a decent coach, spend time with them on a professional level. But he already had it. And so in that case, to me, Bruce Arians, if he had had him at a particular time, young in his career, he would have won 6 championships and probably would have won it sooner.
Here's the thing about sports. Everything is predicated on some things that nobody has control over, right?
Yeah.
Happenstance, like where you go. What is what kind of system did you play in? What kind of organization supported you? Whether or not there's a player that came along that was superior in his skills. There's a lot of things that come into play. But a lot of that stuff, are you looking back at Brady?
Yeah.
So a lot of those things, yes, Brady actually did, shine without the input of others because he was just highly committed.
He was highly
committed. But in order for him to shine in that culture, there had to be a setting for him to do the things that he's done. So I don't think anybody in their right mind can say it's nothing to do with Bill Belichick. Maybe not as much. The pendulum may swing more towards Brady than Belichick, but to not give Belichick any credit, I just think that's
the next most important person on the team, I think, was Malcolm Butler.
Well, no, you can't say the next person on that team because we're talking about the dynasty.
Oh yeah. Well, Malcolm. Anyway, we won't get into that. That's. I think that comes up in later episodes. But there's just so much stuff left. Trading Deion Branch away after the 2004. When I think they beat the Eagles. I think they played the Eagles and they won. And just trading him away for basically nothing. Just cost them championships. They didn't get again in 2014.
I get it. We can go a long line of people that they should have kept. I don't. They should never have gotten rid of Lloyd Malloy, but they didn't like it. Internal reasons. Lloyd Malloy was let go. I think he made a big difference back there. I hate that they got rid of Richard Seymour when they did.
Yeah.
I hated that they got. I hated when they got Chandler Jones. I don't like the way they got rid of him. There's a long list of players.
I wouldn't put Chandler Jones on the same level as Richard Seymour.
No, I'm not trying to put anybody on. But we're talking about players that were let go that were very impactful on the success of the previous season. Chandler Jones.
He did it to a lot of players. Gray as a running back.
Shut him down. Yeah.
So there were a lot of different, but those were incidents because that was the type of person Bill was becoming.
Right.
My way or the highway. So again, it didn't start out that way, but it ended up that way.
But it became that way.
I think it's consistent. I think it was consistent. It was Asante Samuels, another one. Yeah, I just think it's consistent. That's what he always did. It's his way or the highway. Like I said, the Patriot way. If you didn't buy into it, you were gone. I mean, look at
I'm going to go with more with Eric on this one. It wasn't like that in the beginning. It wasn't really like that in the beginning. But as Bill Belichick got more power in his head, you know, he just became something that, you know, you couldn't believe. What bothered me was he was always saying he was doing it for the team, but he was just doing it because he liked to knuckle players under. If they didn't want to take a lower contract, he would get rid of them, and he would screw them over. The same way he did Deion Branch, the same way he did Asante Samuel, the same way he did Malcolm Butler. He would try to screw you over so that you couldn't get another contract somewhere else. Okay,
yeah, but you know, and I want to go back a point of order. Like we made a comment a couple of episodes ago where we're talking about how he signed. He gave somebody a lot of money, and it wasn't Bill Belichick that did that, because you know initially when he came in, he had a GM that was making draft choices.
Drew Bledsoe,
right, and that had nothing to do with Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick didn't make that decision. Because remember, they had that guy Dimitrov that was there?
Yeah.
So he was making decisions before Bill Belichick was.
Oh.
So we had to go back and correct that, because that guy eventually came to Atlanta, if you guys remember.
How'd he do?
Well, you know, they ultimately went to the Super Bowl, Atlanta.
Wow.
Yeah, and that year nobody knew any of the names of the players on Atlanta.
All we knew was Roddy White.
They asked the public their names of players on Atlanta. Nobody knew.
Matt Ryan.
Never won none before.
Yeah, Matt Ryan from Boston College.
Right, Matt Ryan. Yeah, Roddy White. Those guys. And actually, I don't even think Roddy White was on that team, to be honest with you. But yeah. So I just wanted to go back and just kind of correct that. But yeah, you guys are right. I mean, later on, it got a little bit more demonstrative in his ways. But
yeah,
he's constantly let people go that you're like, come on, man, what are you thinking? And I think the Deion,
he don't want to pay nobody.
Yeah,
I forgot about the guy Brandon Lloyd. I was watching the show. I'm like, wow, I forgot.
Right.
Yeah. So and this guy right now, Cooks. I think he's with Dallas now. About 5 years ago, we had him. We won a Super Bowl with him.
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks. So
Cooks was nice too.
Yeah, the list is long. I think he's been doing this all along. It got worse, but he's been doing it all along.
Well, hanging out with that guy Ernie Adams, and I was looking at this. Okay, this is the 2010 roster when they went 14-2, and they lost to New York Jets in the divisional round, 28-21. And I can't tell you how many players that he brought up. And okay, Kyle Arrington, Tula Bantakane, Ron Brace, Tom Brady, Deion Branch, Sergio Brown, Darius Butler, Tony Carter, Patrick Chung, Thomas Clayton, Landon Cohen, Dan Connolly, Sean Crabb, Algie Crumpler, Jermaine Cunningham, Brandon Dedrick, Julian Edelman, Kevin Falk, Dane Fletcher, Steven Gostkowski, Shane Graham, Ben Jarvis Green, Rob Gronkowski, Gary Guyton, Aaron Hernandez, Brian Hover, Jake Ingram, Matt Petula.
Are those players that were on the team or that he brought up? What are we reading here?
Okay, these are players that he would bring up and put on the team, all right, for a couple of games and then get dissatisfied with them and get rid of them.
Yeah, Patrick Chung was a decent safety, but I don't know what he fell off.
Well, that would happen later, but Lewis Leonard, Matt Light, Kyle Love, Logan Mankins, Gerard Mayo, Devin McCourty, Brandon Merriweather, Zoltan Mesko, Eric Moore, Sammy Morris, Randy Moss, who only played 4 games that year before he traded him, Marcus Morrell, Steve Neal, Rob Nikovich, Richard Omeyer, Gwen Gigney. What I'm trying to say is, I'm going to give you another name on this. Taylor Price. I think it was Fred Taylor. Fred Taylor. Even old rundown Fred Taylor from the Panthers made it onto the squad. He's going to try to squeeze the last bit of juice he could out of that orange.
Yeah.
Didn't work too well, but
Fred Taylor came from the Jaguars.
Yeah. So he's always trying to grab this stuff cheap, but he ends up paying more because he brings in more players.
Yeah. Well,
more for cheap. So he's really not paying more. He's getting more bodies for less money.
You're getting more bodies for less money, but it adds up to the same thing. You're still spending this amount of the cap.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's
I think we got a full hour plus some.
Yeah, so we can leave off at that because we came on a little bit late, but we hit it hard, people, because we bring you the news and we're not afraid to tell you what really went on here in New England.
Yeah. It takes someone like me to challenge these two guys because they like to they like to try to come at me, man. But I'm ready. I'm ready for the battle, man.
Can we call him Howard Cosell, the humble one? Because he's just so humble about himself. I mean, there's nobody more humble than Marlon Magic Man, right? He's so humble.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he lets all of us talk good things about him. He never has to say a good thing about himself ever.
Never.
Never.
He's the guy.
He's the man. I think he got the most humble.
Hey, we're gonna call him. We're gonna call him. Let me stop you right there, Marlon.
Let me stop you right there.
And my boss says, "Don't talk over me."
we listened to you talk for like 5 minutes. I'm just trying to squeeze a minute and a half in there.
You're not gonna let me live that down.
Long-winded Marlon.
All right. So, fellas, we're gonna do this all over again on Saturday. I'm gonna be
on Saturday. We're gonna do this all over again. Except we're gonna talk about 7 and 8, which is gonna be something we're gonna binge watch. I'm gonna binge watch tomorrow and be ready for Saturday on WEZE AM 590. The Word in Boston at 9:00 on Saturday. We will be on the air there, so you can tune in there. And guys, listen, you can call in. You can call in and give us your take on it. Forget about us. Just call in. As a matter of fact, we'll give you the number when we're on the air. I should have had it right here.
You got it.
Oh, what's that?
I said I should have had it, but I wrote it down. Just tune in to WEZE. You can stream it and then just call us. Okay.
Yeah. WEZE 590 AM at 9 AM on Saturday.
Boston.
All right.
Call us. We want to hear from you. You surely can't talk any more than Marlon Wright.
No, you gotta, man. You just call me Magic, man. Don't use my whole government. Anyway, guys, I look forward to seeing you. I'm going to get up about 9:00 on Saturday. I mean,
we'll get up at 9.
8:00 on
Get up at 9. You late?
8:00 on Saturday, and put on my good shirt and get my technology straight and be ready for you.
There we go. Why don't we try to get? Yeah, let's see if we can get this thing right a little bit early on Saturday, so we can iron out all the differences. So, listen, I'm going to be at the studio at 8, and we'll start going from there. I'll try to get you in at 8:15, and we'll just start trying. Well, I'm sure we don't have to bore the people with that. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Magic right here is going to sing you a song on the way out because we haven't got our music straight. So, Magic, whatever song you want to sing, I got your back.
I have no idea how this dude put me on flat like that. You see that look on my face? I'm not singing, man. I didn't hum something coming in. I just sing going out.
Come on, I want to stop you right there, Magic.
Oh. Amazing grace.
How sweet the sound.
Go ahead.
Come on, I'm backing you up.
That saves a wretch like me.
I want
Boy, hit that dog.
was lost, but now
I'm found. Okay, let's go.
Was blind, but now I see. Well, come on. Where's my help here?
Here we come.
Gotta get that straight, man.
All right, we'll see y'all on Saturday.
See you guys on Saturday.
Saturday, 8:00.